I think in your film you essentially said that any solution that would be possible to solve things like electromagnetic pollution wouldn't be solved unless there was some profit to be made from it. So potentially there are ways to solve that, like was it those orgone generator type things, possibly? I mean, there might be loads of technology out there to deal with electromagnetic pollution we just don't know about because we can't make money from them.
I completely agree.
I just wanted to kind of point out one thing that seems quite clear to me from seeing Peter's film, is that a lot of people have been asking what the solution is and saying what he, as a leader or as a guide, can give us. But really, it comes down to this idea of us being leaders ourselves.
Right.
And the idea that we, in ourselves, can make a difference just by analysing and looking at ourselves and what's inside us and what we're doing, right down to the minute details of every aspect of our life, because that is the lifeline for our future. And it's not about how we're going to change society and what we're going to build and fast trains, really. It's about us, because that's the only thing that we really know, and that's you. And the change in you is our future, and our future for our children.
Right.
And
exactly.
And I know Brian wants to say something, but I just want to personally thank Peter for coming all this way to America. He really is a champion of I don't know what the cause is, but he really is a champion for us all. And if we can take just some of the messages and the ideas that are in this film and adapt it and use it for our own purposes and groups and formations, then we're really going to go forward in the future. 1 second, sir, let me finish, because it's important. That we will really go forward in the future and create an amazing civilization, society without boundaries, religions and so forth, and we can do it. We are at a tipping point with massive deadlines crashing towards us, but we can do it. And the addendum shows us a way forward. But it's you, everyone out here, that can do it. And I wish you all the best in the journey.
I just have one. I'd like to just ask one thing of you, your opinion, yeah? Because it was stimulated by what you said about Barack Obama being selected, right? And maybe that's true, maybe it's not true. I was a great supporter of Barack Obama, the whole campaign. And the reason why is because as an animal, I could smell an animal that I felt was in good shape, was healthy, right? And the vehicle of our society needs a driver at this time. There has to be a driver, right? I'd rather have a driver there. I mean, I could smell George Bush the moment I saw him. I knew he was bad news. I could smell Barack Obama and I say he's good news. And he can't do our work for us. He's a lens through which we can focus our action. But what I'm concerned about, if we tear down the good people, I don't want to see society crash in a way where there's marauders in the streets and women being raped and kids starving and all the terrible things that happen when a society breaks down. Yes, I'm glad it's breaking down, but I don't want it to break down in a totally chaotic way. And I think it's really important that we support the leaders that come forward, that stand in the light, that we don't tear them down.
No, I completely agree. Thank you. I completely agree. I don't want to see blood running in the streets or anything like that as well. I do believe that the breakdown is a natural culmination that people need to understand and that people need to use in their awareness and their waking up of what's actually happening. I think that it's for every instability creates change, and this instability is going to have very strong ramifications. I got to tell you, I don't think Barack is going to help much of anything. What he's going to do is going to continue to bail out the larger establishments. I think he'll be a little bit nicer. He's going to look a little bit cleaner. He's going to be better. I think it's very awesome in a poetic sense that there's a non-white person in the White House. That's great. But as far as the actual relevance of what his backing is, of what he is, and of what I think is going to happen over the course of his administration, of what I think Barack will actually do, and again, I hope I'm surprised. I think you're going to see a lot more of the same. It's just going to be a little bit more tame. They're not going to start invading places for a while. They're not going to do anything. They're going to try their best to get a hold of the destabilization that's occurring. But there's only so much they can do. The system is out of his hands. There's really nothing he can do except renovate the system from top to bottom, which he is not going to do. I mean, this collapse is of its own accord. And it's been happening for a long time. It's contrived in one sense, and it's a natural culmination on the other. I don't believe in the conspiracy theory that it's one big contrived thing and they're trying to take down everything, like pushing a button. It's not that simple. It's not that cut and dry. What it is a Ponzi scheme that's failing, that they've been using for their own means for a long time, and they've reached the point of tip, and it's tipping right now. They've reached the tipping point. And that's what's happening. I don't think Barack is going to help anything like that. Will he be a better face on it than Bush? Absolutely. Will he make people feel a little bit better? Yes. And there is a certain psychological ramification to that, because you need people to be placated. You don't want people to get the real sense of what's happening, because they will run to their bank and take all their money out, and you'll have bank runs, which is the final step of a complete failure of the system. And that's when things will really get bad. So I hope. And when I say these things to people, I don't want people to run to their banks to get their money out, because we have to maintain stability on our own accord. I don't run to the bank and get my money out, even though I know what's possible. So, in other words, I don't want to see the system hit rock bottom per se. I want to see it go just far enough where people say, wait a minute, this isn't good. Let's reevaluate what's happening here, and then start working from a grassroots level. But, things are very much out of our control. I have a feeling things are going to get a lot worse than we anticipate. And things are so bad in the States that they don't report. It's really unbelievable. So it's nothing that's been seen in a long, long time, and since the Great Depression. I could see it getting worse than the Great Depression. The only thing that makes it a little bit better than the Great Depression is because there's a better technological infrastructure to deal with the breakdown. It's not as cut and dry as it was in 1929, where it was definitive. This, they can play the game. They can still give people stupid stuff and stupid gadgets. They can still, they can still placate the system with media, tons of media entertainment that didn't exist in 1929. They can still have news reports out there of people saying, everything's fine, keep going to work, it's just, some bad loans, it's all right. And people buy it. And as long as they buy it, the psychology will prevail, and they'll slowly try to dig themselves out of the hole. But it's such a deep hole they have to dig themselves out of. And back to my final point, there's nothing Barack Obama can do. There's nothing he can do to save the system unless he kicked out the entire central bank. If Barack Obama kicks out the entire central bank, then I'd be in support of him, because that's what he has to do. If he was truly moral, that's exactly what he would do. But I believe he's bought and paid for him, for the most part. So thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it.